Let's take a look at these silhouette options when you're working on a technical illustration in SolidWorks Composer. So over here in the technical illustration workshop, we have this option to show silhouettes. Now, if I turn this on or off, or if I modify these options, I'm not going to see the output right away in the graphics area of Composer. I do need to generate a preview or save the file in order to see how those options turned out in the output file that is generated. So let's start by just kind of taking a baseline of what this file looks like with silhouettes turned off. So I'm just going to generate the preview with the rest of the settings as is. And what we get is a pretty standard outline of the model, the uniform line thickness throughout. Nothing is being especially, called out or defined by any extra silhouette edges. So heading back into Composer, let's turn the silhouettes on, and I'm going to go from kind of least to most detail. Model is going to just create a silhouette around the outside of this shape that we see here. So if we were to connect the yellow, gray, blue, and red parts here, and imagine this as one continuous outline, that is what the model silhouette is going to display. So let's generate a preview. So just like I described, we have this thicker silhouette edge that kind of traces around the combined shape of these assembled components. The other part over here, because there's a gap between them, this one gets its own outline. And if there were more components connected to this one, it would kind of be like this, right? Where the regions all just become one. So that is our model style. Let's switch to per actor. Now in Composer, actors generally refer to parts. So we can think of this yellow piece as an actor, this red piece as an actor. And so with this option, each of them will have their own individual silhouette. So let's look at this next preview. So compared to the last one, we have the full outline, but we also have this, we can see this shaft has its own silhouette that kind of extends into the housing. And between the housing and the top plate, we have the thickened silhouette. So we have a little bit more detail here in the per actor style. Taking a look at the last option, which is Crest, this is going to show the most detail. It's going to take the silhouettes from the per actor setting and add to it with kind of just additional detail where there are surfaces and edges that Composer deems important. So let's generate that preview. This is what Crest looks like. We have all of the silhouettes from the previous methods, but we also have some of these semicircle accents around holes and edges that, like I said, that Composer deems significant. So this is just going to add a little bit extra detail and kind of context to the parts. And this will look different on every single model because it's kind of generating it based on how those edges are represented to the camera angle where this view was created. So really quickly, if I go back into Composer and I just kind of rotate this a little bit and generate the preview again, then let's switch between them. You can see that different edges kind of are represented differently here with Crest enabled between those two different views. So keeping in mind, this is what the Crest style looks like. This is what per actor looks like. We still have the division between the components, but less detail. This is what model looks like, where the assembled pieces just share one continuous silhouette. And then for our baseline, this is what your export will look like with silhouettes off. So here we have the output of the Crest style. And just like I said, this is the most detailed output. We have, of course, the full outline. We have the outline between components, and then we get these little accent silhouette edges. So we have kind of some semicircles on our holes. There are also edges like this one that are being generated, to show some kind of significant detail here. And then again, around this filleted edge at the bottom. And this is going to look different depending on the angle of your model too. So let me just kind of turn this into a different position and generate another preview with this style on. So here you can see there are certain edges that are being called out only when we have the Crest style active. So going back to review the different styles we saw, here we have the Crest option. Here we have per actor, where you can see some of that internal detail was removed, but we still have the separation between the components. Here we have the model style, where the assembled components are kind of treated like one continuous region. And lastly, again, our baseline, this is what you have when silhouettes are not enabled.